Since we were kids, we were taught to compare each other. We start with weight and height, then we evolve to brands and status. As adults, we are comparing each other by our income, the title we have in the companies, how many houses that we have, and so on and so forth. Comparison is inevitable, but what I found is that it can be paralyzing. There was a time in my life where I was paralyzed by the success of other people. When I started my entrepreneurship journey, I also started this content creator thing, and I remember I would just look at people from the same field doing the same thing and see a picture or a video go viral, someone else's business growing exponentially, and then I felt the doubt creeping in, and I was like, am I good enough? Why am I doing this? Should I give up? Comparison is the thief of joy. I had a few years while doing this content creation thing when I was very, very inconsistent. I would open Instagram and see someone doing really well, or LinkedIn, and I was paralyzed. I was like, I cannot find my place here. I cannot see where this is going. One day, while I was reading on LinkedIn another successful story, overnight of course, I asked myself, why do we keep comparing ourselves to each other? And then I started thinking more and going more in depth and researching on the subject. I came to the conclusion that I started comparing myself to other people because I was compared to other people in the first place. So it was natural for me to do that. But what I further discovered is that comparison is tightly related to self-discovery, self-reflection, self-awareness. We need to find a way to give us a meaning of life, to understand ourselves. And how can you do this? By making another relation to something else that's happened, by comparing yourself to someone else. Us humans, we had an innate need to reevaluate ourselves, and we can do that by comparing ourselves to other people. I know it sounds very weird, but apparently it's because we're humans. So how did I stop comparing myself to other people? Well, I realized that by comparing myself to other people, it didn't make me more happy, it didn't make me more beautiful, smart, or productive. It just put a veil on my face in which I would choose not to see all the privilege and happy things going on in my life. I would see my life as the most ultimate horrible thing. And also, what was really sad is that it inherently stopped me from doing two things I really love, which is creating and telling stories. Don't compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. When we compare ourselves to other people, we often forget that there are a lot of variables to take into consideration. What was their upbringing, if they have their parents, their financial status, and a lot of other variables. We just compare ourselves to the other person in a specific exact moment on a poster on Instagram, LinkedIn, or a story we heard. And that makes us miserable because we forget about the privileges and the small things in our lives that makes us really happy. What 2020 showed me is that I cannot control anything. So why not invest it in something that I like and enjoy every day as it is, with good and bad? What helped me overcome comparison is that I replaced comparison with self-discovery. When I catch myself comparing myself to other people, I then go back to myself and try to see why that happens, why the comparison happens. For me, journaling helped a lot. I've been journaling since 2012 consistently, but what helped me overcome comparison was doing specific prompts. You can look over Pinterest as well, and discovering why myself felt bad or why I kept comparing myself to certain people. And one thing that I did in my exercise is that I'm trying to see how I can turn this comparison into an advantage, because I want to find a way that motivates me to do better and become a better person while also being satisfied with the life that I'm having. Another thing that it's important is that when you catch yourself talking to yourself in a bad way, I'm using this advice from one of Brené Brown's books. I love her work. You should totally look into her. She has a chapter, I cannot remember the book at this point, but she has a chapter in one of her books to be mindful about the stories you're telling yourself, because it's very important when you catch yourself telling yourself a bad story about yourself to turn it around. For instance, why can't I be as successful as this person? Why can't I have so much creativity as this person? And turn it into another narrative. I am so proud of you, Irina, talking to myself, that you're brave enough to talk about comparison on the camera because you failed in the past and owning up to your situation. I'm proud of you because you're restarting your content creation journey and trying more than before. And see how you switch the narrative from something bad to something positive. Another thing that I recommend is for you to try and see what are your triggers for comparison. For instance, social media in this case can be an enabler. If you catch yourself looking at other people and feeling miserable, try to reevaluate your relationship with social media. Social media is not that bad if you use it in a specific way. If you open your Instagram account or TikTok or Facebook or whatever you're using these days, if you catch yourself feeling unhappy or more unmotivated, then you should reevaluate your relationship with social media. And if you follow a specific person that makes you feel bad, you should totally unfollow that person. I can tell you that by switching this mindset from moving to social media and coming back to myself and building my self-awareness, spending time with myself, getting to know myself, see who I am, what I want, what I stand for, what are my true values in life, it builds character. When you develop your character and you know what you stand for, you are less likely to get into comparison mood. You might get yourself comparing yourself to someone or seeing something that you might like, but that can be motivational for you in order to learn something, but it's not as bad or paralyzing anymore. Comparison can be extremely detrimental to mental health, so it's very important to catch yourself when you see it going spiraling down. I can say I'm perfect, I can say I have my days where I compare myself to other people, but every day I try to do and be a better person and see where I can help myself. Tell me about you. How do you deal with comparison? I would like to thank you if you've reached this video so far. I'm so very grateful you're here. Please leave it a thumbs up and a comment because it helps and it plays with the YouTube algorithm. And my pop socket went off. Pop filter. Thank you for reaching this far. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'm slowly getting back into things. Like you probably know or not, I had surgery a couple of weeks ago. I'm recovering. I've also made an upgrade to the sound system, so I'm going to get rid of this pretty soon. And also planning on changing my camera. So excited for creating content. Love it so much, and thank you so much for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.